Hey guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to my channel, Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on my Patreon page, thank you so very much. This is your daily forecast for Saturday the 13th. It is a timeless message. Before coming online or before going on video, I always ask for my guides and spirit to kind of give me the message for the greater collective, for the highest good. So therefore it is set for June 13th, but it's also set for like whenever you receive it. If you find this message coming to you at a time that is not June 13th, Saturday, that's okay. There might still be something in here for you that you might need to hear or might apply to whatever you're working on or going through right now. So I wouldn't shut it off if it happens to sort of randomly show up in your world, right? So keeping that in mind, for those of my regular viewers that watch daily, you guys know the drill. Just we're building on that energy. We have that Eight of Swords energy going on underneath all of this. And we're going to see what else. We're ending out the week, and then we'll start a new week tomorrow. So let's see what's going on. What do we need to know? Ways you can support the channel if you'd like. You can subscribe to my Instagram at Engelgeist333. Follow me there. You can also like my business page on Facebook. Follow me there. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when I go live. And if you are interested in booking private readings, those are also available. You just message me at the Facebook business page to find out more details on that. Oh, another way is if you're interested in any of the decks that you see, they are linked in the video description box. The decks that I get from independent artists on Etsy, I do not receive any sort of payment for or anything like that. But on the Amazon affiliated links, those I do get a small percentage of the sale. So if you utilize that link and then buy the deck, I'll get like $1, which is great. That was not a great shuffle. What is going on? Wake up, Dan. Get it together. There we go. That's what we need to see. Oh, wow. And the Fool is back, guys. Optimism and freedom. It's interesting. We've seen a lot of double cards this week. So Fool always represents this sort of idea of new beginnings, new journeys. This Fool to me is interesting from the standpoint that you don't normally see the Fool's face covered. And in this card, this coverage makes me feel like we are walking a little bit blind. It kind of brings me into sort of some of the cloud cover that we've been seeing in the previous cards, like the cloud cover yesterday in the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands from the very beginning of the week. There's been this sort of unknown factor happening for us this week. But I feel like coupled with all of the major arcana cards that we've been seeing throughout the week, even though we may feel like we're not moving forward or we're not clear what the path is, that's sort of what I'm feeling like with this Fool card. We're still moving forward. We're still on a journey. We're still I feel like doors are opening or opportunities are happening whether we realize it or not, right? There's opportunities, how do I want to explain this? Like there's opportunities in how we view the world, right? There's opportunities in how we choose to place ourselves in this sort of ever-changing world right now, right? I don't know how many of you are back to work in post-COVID realness, but there could be some of that, like sort of defining, that could be the representation of this Fool card, redefining what that means for you, how you feel about that, how that looks. Do you feel comfortable? These are all things that are challenges that we have to now deal with, right? And we don't necessarily know exactly how to navigate them. The one beautiful thing that I love about the Fool card is the Fool is always open to new beginnings, open to new choices, open, almost a risk like taker, I would say, in the sense that the Fool has this sort of exuberance or this sort of enthusiasm that allows him to not be frightened, right? With this Fool card in this particular deck, though, I do sense a little bit of fear. I'm not sure, or maybe it's just today, but as I'm looking, let me just see, what is she holding there? Looks like she's holding, to me, let me just show you. To me, it looks like she's holding the earth right here, and this looks like rose quartz to me. Like, do we love, or do we, like, buy into the craziness that's going on in the world? Do you see that? I don't know if you can, how well you can see that on the camera. But to me, and it's also, there's this to me, it looks like the, what is that, the Acropolis in Greece, you know, that place of all knowledge where law was sort of started. It's in Athens, Greece. I've actually been there. To me, it looks like she's sort of journeyed away from what she knows to be true. This would be like sort of the first formative knowing of like what we know to be like law or stable, true, that sort of thing. I feel like she's traversed these mountains sort of blindly and carried herself through this. Now she's in the thick of the clouds, if you see this down here, right? And she's trying to find where she belongs, keeping an optimistic mind, right? And we're seeking this sort of idea of freedom. I think that what is being transmuted in us or changed in us during all of these sort of tumultuous times and challenging situations that we're either watching or some of us might be in the midst of actually protesting or being vocal about how we want to see change, where we want to see change, in not only on a worldwide scale, but you know, for those of us that want to see change in our own life, right? There's this idea that like what was safe and secure, right, or what was sort of the law or made sense to us may no longer be available to us. It may never be available to us again, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting with this card. And unfortunately, she's shrouded. You don't necessarily always see the Fool. The Fool is normally depicted like looking upward, like heading towards a cliff. I don't feel like there's that sort of danger here, but I do feel like she can't see where she's going. Some of us might feel frustration with that or fear around that, nerves around that. But we have to trust. I feel like this building in the background here, this sort of Acropolis or this almost like structure of higher learning or previous life experience, metaphorically, like we're looking at this possibly as a metaphor for sort of what we've learned thus far. We're having to walk away from those established things. I think that learning will aid us in the moment as we move forward, but we have to move forward, right? And these choices to move forward, similar to like what we saw with the Chariot, we've seen the Fool twice this week. I can't remember who else we saw. Didn't we see the Fool twice this week? Oh no, the Fool came in on Saturday of last week. But regardless, I feel like these are significant choices that we're making, right? These are significant steps that we're taking. Even if they're back to that Starseed card that I keep calling up, is that baby steps. Even if they feel like they're small steps, they're having a larger impact on the grander scheme of whatever's going on in our life, right? So if we are making, you know, decisions to not move or to not challenge ourselves, you know, for some of you looking at this card, this shroud over her eyes could be like, I just don't want to see it. I'm going to stick my head in the sand. I don't want to do it. I don't want to move forward. I'm scared, right? It could represent that for some of you. And if that's the case, you're making a decision there, right? To stand still, to wait it out. And I don't have an opinion on that. That if I was to say that was right or wrong, that would be more of an opinion for me. I think that what the awareness that this card wants me to give you is that where we're heading right now is unknown. And you have to make a choice of whether or not you're going to head there or not, right? Wherever that may be for you. it's almost like the visual that I'm getting is like the training wheels are off, guys. We need to be willing to ride the bike to the destination on our own. Like trusting our own ability to get us there. It's like being sort of challenged at a deeper level, or at a I mean, that's the freedom in this card when it says optimism and freedom. I feel like this Fool, the moving forward of this Fool card, is even though it's sort of unknown or challenging, it's opening us up to this opportunity to sort of gain understanding and independence in ourselves at a deeper level than what we were formerly used to before we allowed sort of society to maybe dictate to us how we do things, what parameters we live in, what rules we live by. This Fool card says to me that we might have to reestablish those rules, reestablish those roles, and how we interact with them in a different way. And we have to be open to that and continue to move forward. So let's see what the Starseed Oracle has to say. We've gotten this card before. I love this card. This is perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. So for those of you that might be caught up in sort of the trials and tribulations of the world, zoom out into the sort of greater scheme of things. Gather a different perspective. When it's coupled with this Fool card, the Shroud might be a really good thing today for us to kind of turn a blind eye to what is going on around the world, not buying into it, not perpetuating it, not adding any of our own fear, angst, worry, anxieties into what is going on around us. I love sort of the void that is around this planet. I mean, it is obviously planet Earth, but I love this black void all the way around it. There's so much room for creation within this black void. There's so much room for opportunity and, I don't know, understanding. And in the grand scheme of things, we might be so much smaller. And I don't mean smaller in a bad way. I mean, we might be just so much more... I don't want to say you're insignificant, because it's not, that's not what it's trying to say to me, but I feel like maybe your problems, the problems of the world, those sort of things may be more insignificant than you realize. I know that they're painful. I'm not saying that anybody shouldn't take a stance. Excuse me. I'm having like an allergic reaction. Let me take a sip of coffee. I'm not saying that anybody shouldn't believe in what they, what they stand for. But I think that right now, with this Fool shrouded like this, to me, there's a lot of unknowns going on. There's a lot of things that it's like sort of hard for us to really discern where this is all heading, where we are heading. But we still need to continue to move forward. And this perspective card, to me, feels like pulling ourselves out, looking at the bigger picture, having some faith in ourselves, faith in our higher self, faith in our spirit, to sort of bring us through this, to guide us through this. There's not necessarily rules in place or the things that used to work for us. I feel like with these two cards here, they no longer work. It's almost like we're redefining what works in today's world for ourselves. And this could be in today's world, this could be in a relationship, this could be in a work situation. You guys have to apply what I'm saying to wherever it fits in your life, right? But whatever it is that's sort of you feel blinded by, incapable of navigating, nervous about sort of taking new steps or first steps, to me, it's about faith. It's about trusting oneself. It's about gaining better perspective, not giving into sort of the fear or the anxiety. Let's see what the grounding stone here. Okay. So the grounding stone is on obsidian. Obsidian wards off any negative energy. It's also a very, very grounding stone. But the stone is vision. I love that this stone is black, and we have all of this black in this perspective card, this like sort of void of space, this void of thought, this void of, to me, this is almost like and this is going to get a little esoteric for you. I almost feel like some of us, if we need to go inward, if we need to meditate, that's also the shroud that we see over the Fool here. It's about like shutting ourselves off to the world and creating that vision from within, right? Allowing negativity to be warded off, not necessarily buying into it, taking sort of the problems of the planet, whatever those may be, and setting them aside for a moment and trying to figure out what is our vision for ourselves. Where do we fit into this? How do we fit into this? How do we want this to play out for ourselves, right? Where in our heart or in our deeper self, our deeper soul, do we want this to carry us or take us to, right? If and keeping in that vision, keeping in that sort of that soul purpose or that focus and grounding in that is going to help us to not only maintain the perspective that we see in this card that allows us to sort of let go and seek out common ground with others or with the situations around us, and allow us, when we find that common ground, I also feel like the perspective change that helps us to find the common ground, that helps us to like sort of loosen the mental ties that bind, or whatever it is that we feel stuck to. It opens up the door, the space for creation that allows the Fool to also sort of move forward again. Does that make sense? So even though we may not know where we're going, we need to also allow ourselves the freedom to be able to move in the moment and trust that movement. A way to do that would be to ground in that sort of idea of this vision of where we want to be, how we want the world to change, what do we want to see different, right? Do we want, and I'm talking about macro and micro levels, guys, like not only in our own immediate everyday environment, but I feel like there's also like a perspective shift that's happening for the entirety of the planet, and we have a part in that, each and every one of us individually. So we need to sort of keep that optimism about us like we see in the Fool, keep that focus on freedom. How do we envision that freedom, starting with ourselves, right? In the micro level, in our own immediate environment, what is that freedom like? And we may not know how to get there, but that's okay. We have to just trust ourselves that as we continue to keep doing the right thing and ground in that vision, that we will get there. I hope that makes sense. That is your forecast for the day for Saturday the 13th. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen and transpire on Sunday for our weekly. We will see you tomorrow. Please give me a like, share, a comment, a subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.